So hello everyone. So last time we finished P8 equation. Today we're going over 1.4 quadratic equation. Then we're moving to 1.6 other equations. So the goal for that, I'm like combining all the equations together. So B8 is talking about equations. 1.4 talking about a quadratic equation. So today we're going over 1.4, and then we're moving to over 1.6 other equations. Then after we finish this two section, we go back to 1.1 coordinate plane. So today we're going over 1.4 quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. So for quadratic equation, we should to know, first of all, we have to know what is the meaning of quadratic equation. So here, definition of quadratic equation. What is the quadratic equation? Any idea what is the meaning of a quadratic equation? Any idea what is the meaning of a quadratic equation? From high school or?
Quadratic equation, I think anything that consists like ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0.
Exactly. This is the quadratic equation. Any equation of the form, so any equation of the form ax squared, the form, I'm going to write it down, any equation of the form ax squared here, a times x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we have to know a and b and c, all of them are real numbers. So a and b and c, all of them are real numbers. So here, all of a and b and c, all of them are real numbers. Here's c. We should to know all of them are real numbers. And we have to know also a not equal 0. This a must be not equal 0. And we have to know here, and a not equal 0. This is very important. Why? Because if a equals 0, what I get? What the equation I'm gonna get? If this a equals 0, what is the equation would be?
Undefined.
Would be bx plus c. And what is the equation bx plus c? What is the equation bx plus c? Is a linear equation. Bx plus c called linear equation. But ax squared plus bx plus c called quadratic equation. So here, a here must be not equal 0. Should be equal 1, 2, 3, or any real number, but not equal 0. First of all, we have to know the property said, we have property. So the property said if I have a times b if I have A, B equals 0, this is mean both of A equals 0 or B equals 0. So again, if I have two like expression, these two expression, they give me 0 or real number or anything. So we have to know this implies this A equals 0 or the other one, the B equals 0. So this is very important property. We're going to use it a lot during this section. So first of all, we have to know how to solve a quadratic equation. So here solving quadratic equation. First of all, we have to know how to solve the quadratic equation by factoring. So we have different way for solving a quadratic equation. So the first way is by factoring. So here by factoring. So we have to factor the quadratic equation, then we have to solve it. So I'm going to give example for this, how we can use the factoring to solve any quadratic equation. So here example 1. Example 1. So suppose I have x squared plus 5x equal 24. So who will give me like an idea how I can start solving this quadratic equation?
Subtract 24 from both sides.
Exactly. Subtract 24 from both sides. Yes, Ant. You want to, Anta? Would you like to say anything?
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Exactly. So first of all, we have to subtract 24 from both sides. Here's subtracting 24. Subtract 24. So after I subtract 24 from the right side will be cancelled. Why? Because 24 minus 24, they give 0. So here's 0, cancel. Now the new equation or the another equation are equivalent to this equation is x squared. This is equivalent to this, x squared plus 5x minus 24 equals 0. So now, how we can factor this quadratic equation?
We can do
What is the factor? Yes, go ahead.
X minus 3 times X plus 8.
Minus 3 and plus 8. So we're looking for two numbers. The multiplication of these two numbers is minus 24. And the sum of these two numbers is 5, positive 5. Like Aziza said, the both of these two numbers is positive 8 and negative 3. So here I can factor it. Factor. So the factor is x plus 8 times x minus 3. Why? Because 8 times minus 3, they give minus 24, and 8 plus minus 3, they give me positive 5. So this is correct, equals 0. So the factor of this quadratic equation, like we learned before, is x plus 8 times x minus 3 equals 0. Now, by using this property here said if I have two like expression a times b equals 0, so this implies to a equals 0, this term equals 0, or the second term equals 0. So I'm going to use this property to solve this factor here. So I can set here x plus 3, this parentheses, as my a, and the second parentheses, x minus 3, is my b. So a equals 0 or b equals 0. So I'm going to move to the next slide. So here I have x plus 8 times x minus 3 equals 0 by using the property said if I have a times b equals 0, this implies to a equals 0 or b equals 0. So again, I'm going to set this is my a and this is my b. So I can get here now x plus 8 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. Now I get a linear equation. This is very easy equation, like we learned before. How we can like get the value of x only? Yes, go ahead, Anta.
So what you need to do is do the converse operation of 8 on both sides. So it's
What
gonna
I should
be minus 8 on
subtract?
both sides. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I have to subtract a from both sides here. And what I should to do here for the
You
other
have to
one?
do plus 3 on both
Plus 3.
sides.
Exactly, correct. So when I subtract the 8 from both sides, this will be cancelled. And when I add 3 for both sides in this equation, this also cancelled. So now the answer for this x equal 8 minus 8, sorry, and the other one is x equal 3. So my answer is x equal 8 minus 8 and x equal 3. This is the answer for this quadratic equation. So step by step, the first step I factor, then I use the property. Second step, I using the property. Now, I have another example for this by using the factor. Any question for this example before we move to the second example? Okay, example number 2. The question is the same things. Solve z square equal 4. Who will do this one? Who will do this example? First of all, this is an quadratic equation. Z square equal 4. Is it an quadratic equation? Yes, this is an quadratic equation. This is correct. How you know that, Matthew? Because the 2, right? The exponent is 2. Yes, correct. So because the exponent here is 2, this is an quadratic equation. Z square equal 4. Okay, so what's the first step? Like I said here, we have to move everything to one side. Then we have to factor. What we should to do here? Exactly, Matthew. Z square minus 4. So we have to subtract 4 from both sides. Why? Because I want to move the 4 to the other side. So 4 minus 4 is 0. Now I can get here This is equal z square minus 4 equals 0. Now, how I can factor this equation? Yes, this is correct. Z plus 2, z minus 2. This is called the difference of square. So I have to factor this one by using the idea of the difference of square. So the difference of square for this one is z minus 2 times z plus 2 equals 0. Here I get from tau, the answer could be both negative or positive 2. Yes, negative 2 and positive 2. So what is the answer here? He said could be both negative or positive 2. Like he said, the same idea, we're using the property a b equals 0. So a equals 0 or b equals 0. So here he said like z minus 2 equals 0 or z plus 2 equals 0. So now I add 2 for both sides. Here I subtract 2 from both sides. Now when I add 2 for both sides here, this cancel each other. Here when I subtract 2 from both sides, this cancel out from each other. So now I get the answer z equal positive 2 or z equal minus 2. Any question for this? Is it clear? Okay. So all of them the same step. First of all, we have to subtract, or we have to move everything to one side and the other side is 0. Second step, we have to factor. Third step, we have to use this property, AB equals 0. This implies A equals 0 or B equals 0. Then the last step, we have to find the answer. The solution, I mean. X equal the first solution and X equals the second solution. This is solving quadratic by factoring. So actually we have different way for solving quadratic equation. So now we're going over how to solve the quadratic equation by using different way is by a quadratic equation. So now we're going to learn how to solve a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. So here, solving another way to solve quadratic equation is by using the quadratic formula. What is the meaning of a quadratic formula? Yes, go ahead.
The formula is x equals minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Yes, this is correct. So this is the quadratic formula for any quadratic equation. So first of all, this is correct. So here I can say if I have a quadratic if I have a quadratic equation of the form like ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, the quadratic equation, the quadratic formula, sorry, the formula is x equal minus b, this is b, here is the b, minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4 times a times c over 2a over 2 times a. Again, if I have a quadratic equation, this quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, so I can solve this quadratic equation by the quadratic formula. We don't have to factor and subtract and do all this step. So I can use the quadratic formula. Oh, by the way, the quadratic equation should be like this. I mean, like one side is 0 and the other side is the equation. It must be of this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, just using this quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is x equal the minus b, the second term, minus b, or the factor of the second term, plus minus b, the square root of b squared, this b squared, b times b, minus 4 times a, this a, times c, this c, over 2 times a. This is the a again. So I'm going to, but before we go over the example, we have to talk about discriminant. Like the discriminant is connected with the quadratic formula. So here I have to explain a little bit about the discriminant. So we should check the discriminant. So the discriminant I can denote it by d equal b squared minus 4 times a times c. So d, I can denote it for the discriminant by the letter c, d, I mean, d equal b squared minus 4 times a times c. This is very important. Here, b squared minus 4 times a times c. I mean, the discriminant is inside the radical, this one, b squared minus 4 times a times c. This is the discriminant inside the radical. I have to check this one. This is very important. If this d, so I can set here, this is my d. Here, this one here inside, this is my d, the discriminant. So this d, it has 3 important if this d is positive, like greater than 0, then the quadratic equation has 2 two different solutions. Real solution. This is the first one. If this D is positive after I check it, this is number one. So the quadratic equation has two different real solutions. Number two, if I check this D, if again, if D is equal 0 now, then the quadratic equation has only one, has exactly one real solution. Only one real solution. But if D is negative, number 3, if this D is negative number less than 0, then the quadratic equation has no solution or no real solution. Has no real solution. So this properties is very important for D, the discriminant. If this D again positive, we have two different solutions. If this D is equal 0, the quadratic equation has only one real solution. Again, if this D is negative, we don't have any solution. So I'm going to give example how we can use this quadratic formula and how we can check for this D, the discriminant. So example 1, solve by using the quadratic formula for x square. So the equation, the quadratic equation is for x square plus 4x minus 1 equals 0. So first of all, what I have to do when I see something like that, if the question asks me to solve by quadratic formula, first of all, I have to check the D, the discriminant. What is the discriminant formula? What is the discriminant formula?
B squared minus 4ac.
Exactly, b squared minus 4ac. So first of all, I have to know what is the a, what is the b, what is the c. What is a here in this equation?
1.
What's a?
It's 1.
1. This is 1. What is b? This is my
4.
b. 4. And what is c?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. So this is my a, it's 1, but it's hidden. And this is my b, number 4. And this is my c, negative 1. Now we plug it inside this discriminant formula. So I get now b squared is 4 times 4, 16, minus 4 times a. What is a? 1 times c. C is minus 1. So now I can get 16 minus 4 times 1 is 4, minus 1 is positive 4. And the answer is 20. So the D discriminant is 20. And the 20 is positive or negative or equal 0? Is positive. So the 20 is greater than 0 is positive. So this is positive. And what does that mean? Then the quadratic equation has two different real solutions. The first one, if D is positive, the quadratic equation has two different real solutions. So actually I have two different real solutions. So I have to use this formula here, x equal, so the quadratic equation has two different real solutions. How I know? From the first one here, first step, two different real solutions.
It is the energy you need to survive. Shit, man. I don't know what
So what is the real solution? So what is the real solutions? By using the formula. So I'm going to use the formula now. So the formula is by using the formula x equal minus b plus minus square root of the discriminant over 2a over 2a. Can you go back? Yes, I can go back here. You're welcome. So now just we plug inside the quadratic formula. So x equal, what is b minus b? What is minus b? Minus b. B is 4. So the minus b is minus 4, exactly. So here I get minus 4 plus negative square root of d. What is d? Is 20. Or I can calculate it as b squared minus 4ac. The same thing here. So is 20. So 20 here over 2a. What is the 2a? What's the answer for 2a? 2 times what? 2 times 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So the both solution are x equal minus 4 plus square root of 20 over 2 and the other solution is x equal or x equal minus 4 minus the square root of 20 over 2. Again, over 2. Yes, we can simplify it. How we can simplify it, Natasha? How we can simplify the answer here? Can you help?
First
Do
you
we
can
have
do the
to
square
fact?
roots.
Yes. How we can simplify this thing here? Do we have to factor the square root? Yes, that's correct. So this is equal to minus 4. What is the factor for this one? The 20.
2 square root
4
of
times
2,
5.
5.
4 times what?
5.
5 over 2. Over 2. And here the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Square root of 2, 4 times 5. This is equal square root of 4 times square root of 5. And the square root of 4, what? What is it?
2.
2 times the square root of 5. So this is actually is 2 times square root of 5. So now I can get minus, this is equal the minus 4 plus 2 square root of 5 over 2 over 2, and I can simplify it by dividing both sides by 2. So by dividing this by 2, this is by 2, I can get minus 2, and also by 2 I get 1. So the final answer is minus 2. If I want to divide, I have to divide both terms by 2. I can't divide this one and I forgot that other one. This is not correct. If I want to divide the 2, I should to divide it for both sides, this one and this one at the same time. So I get minus 2 plus the square root of 5. And the same thing for the other solution. X equal minus 4 minus this square root of 20 is the same like this here, is 2 square root of 5. Divide by 2. By 2. Now, if I want to simplify, like I said before, I have to divide the 2 for both terms, here and here. So minus 4 divided by 2, they give me minus 2. And 2 divided by 2, they give me 1. So the final answer here for this one is x equal minus 2 minus the square root of 5. Is it clear? Minus, plus, or minus 2 radical 5. Yes, this is correct. Minus 2 plus or minus 2 radical 5. This is correct. Yes, the radical here, and we divide the 2 with the 2, so they cancel out. Then I get the last answer is minus 2 minus the square root of 5 without the 2, Natasha. Minus 2 minus square root of 5 and minus 2 plus the square root of 5. This is the value for x. Any question? Okay, another question, another example for solving a quadratic equation by using the formula. You should know these things. How? Here, another example, example 2. The example is solving by using the quadratic formula. Same thing for 1 over 3 x square. Yes, I'm going to go back. Just give me a second. 1 over 3 x square minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. Here you go, Jennifer. Okay, so now we have another example. Solve by using the quadratic formula for 1 over 3 x squared minus 2x plus 4. So what I said before, but when I use the quadratic formula, I should to check the discriminant, right, in the beginning. D equal b squared minus 4 times a times c. We'll do this one. First of all, what is a? Where's A from the quadratic formula, from the quadratic equation? Yes, Matthew, this is correct, 1 over 3. Correct, 1 over 3. And what is B? Is minus 2, is not 2. Yes, exactly, minus 2. Don't forget the minus. And what is C? Is 4. Now you plug these numbers inside this formula here. D equal B square is minus 2 times minus 2 is 4, positive 4, because minus times minus is positive, and 2 times 2 is 4, minus 4 times A. What is A? 1 over 3. And C from here is 4. So what I get here? Again, B square here. What about B? Some student they ask me, what about B? The B, I plug it here inside the square. So B square is minus 2 square. And minus 2 square is 4. So here I can say minus 2 everything square. So minus 2 square give 4 minus 4 times 4, 16 over 3. So 16 over 3. Now, I would like to get the answer for this one. 4 minus 16 over 3. So to solve fraction has different denominator. Like I said before, I can do the cross multiply, or I can use the least common denominator. But the easiest here, using the cross multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. So now can I get 12? 4 times 3. Minus 16 times 1 is minus 16 over 3 times 1. This one times this one. The denominator, multiplying the denominator to each other, 3 times 1 is 3. So the final answer is 12 minus 16, they give you minus 4 over 3. Minus 4 over 3. And what is this answer? What's the sign for this answer? It's negative, right? What's the meaning of negative? Is less than 0. This value is less than 0. Go back to the discriminant. If this d is less than 0, the quadratic equation has no real solution. So I don't have any real solution. So because d is less than 0, so there is no real solution. So we don't have any solutions. Why? Because the discriminant is 0 here, less than 0. Because the discriminant is less than 0, so we don't have any real solution. So we stop up to here. We cannot move and using the formula. So we cannot use the formula. Is it clear for this example? What about other student? Matthew said yes. What about the others? Okay. Perfect. So now we have another property for this section. The property said if I have simple quadratic equation as, for example, x squared. Yes, I'm going back. Give me 1 second. So suppose I have a simple quadratic equation. The simple quadratic equation like x squared equals c. The solution are x equal square root of c or x equal the minus square root of c. Minus square root of c. So suppose I have a simple quadratic equation like this, x squared equals c. The solution are x equal the square root of c or the minus square root of c. So I'm going to give example for this. Give me 1 second. I'm going to the previous slide. Here you go. Sandra. Okay. Now for this property, if I have a simple quadratic equation, x squared equals c. This is a simple quadratic equation. X squared equals c. The solution always will be like x equals the square root of c or the x equal the minus square root of c. Example for this. X squared equal 4. How can I solve this one? First of all, is it a simple quadratic equation? Is look like this?
Yes.
Is it? Yes, it's x squared equal number. X squared equal number. This is correct. So the solution always will be of this form: x equals square root of c or x equal the minus square root of c. So the solution by using the property the property in the above here, this one. So the solutions are x equal square root of 4 or x equal the minus square root of 4 minus square root of 4. What is the square root of 4?
Plus or minus 2.
Plus 2 here, and here is minus 2. So the solution for this simple quadratic equation is positive 2 or negative 2 by using this property. Another example. Example number 2. The question is solve x minus 4 everything square equal 5. Actually, this one is similar to this one. So what is the answer now? It's look like this. So how can I solve it? If I take the square root for both sides, what I get? Square root for both sides exactly x equal plus or minus radical 5 plus 5. This is correct. Radical 4, yes, I mean plus 4, exactly. Plus 4 plus and minus radical 5. So first of all, I have to take the square root. Here they took the square root for both sides. So after taking the square root for both sides, I get now x minus 4 equals square root of 5, or x minus 4 equal minus square root of 5. Now to get the value for x only, I have to add 4 for both sides here, plus 4, and here I have also the same things, adding 4 for both sides, because I need the value for x only. So this canceling each other. Now I get x equal 4 plus the square root of 5. And here the same things, they cancel out each other. So now I can get x equal, same thing, 4 minus square root of 5. Okay, any question for this example? Just you use this the same property, but it's look like different about the previous for this example. I mean, any question? Okay, so no questions. Now we're going to learn how to solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. So we start this section, how to solve a quadratic equation by factoring. Second thing, by using the quadratic formula. Now we're going to learn how to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. So another way to solve a quadratic equation. So now solving quadratic equation by completing the square. So we're going to learn how to solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. So I'm going to give a general idea for how we can complete the square. Anyone has any idea before I start writing the definition or some information about the completing the square? What is the meaning of completing the square or quadratic equation by completing the square? Okay, I'm going to give the no student they give. I'm going to give general idea how we can doing completing the square. Suppose here Michelle said you have ax plus b and you need to get the c. This is correct, like close to the definition for completing the square by adding b over 2 square. This is 100% correct. We add both sides for the equation by b over 2 square. So suppose to make the equation, suppose I have equation of the form, to make the equation x squared plus b x, so x squared, I'm going to write it down, a perfect square. So we add b over 2 square. So suppose I have an equation, quadratic equation of the form x squared plus bx. So here I have x squared plus bx. A perfect square to, so we add b over 2 square for both sides of for this to this equation. So I'm going to get, so my equation, my new equation is x squared plus bx plus b over 2 square. And then we factor this thing, I get x plus b over 2, everything squared. I'm going to give example to explain more how we can use the quadratic equation. So example, so the example is, suppose I have x squared, here solve, x squared, I mean like solve by using quadrant, I have to specify which way you have to use to solve. So solve by using the complete of the square for the following quadratic equation. So the quadratic equation is as the follow, is x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. So this is my quadratic equation, is x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. The question is, solve this quadratic equation by using the completing of the square way. So as we learn, we have 3 ways for solving a quadratic equation. First one is factoring. Second way is first way is factoring. Second way by using the quadratic formula. Now we're going to learn how we can solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. So first of all, we have to make one side has the variable and the other side has all numbers. So this is number, for example, I have to move it to this side. So now I can get x squared minus 8x equal 13. Now we have to complete the square. What I should to add for both sides? What I should to add for both sides?
Isn't it negative 13?
Yes, oh, sorry, negative 13. This is correct. So now what I should to add for both sides? I should to add b over 2 square, because this is make the equation like make it as perfect square, or make it, we use the way of completing the square by adding this to the both of the equation. So what is b here? B over 2 square. Matthew said is 16. B here is minus 8 over 2 is minus 4, and minus 4 square is 16. This is correct. So minus 8 over 2 square, and this is 16. Minus 8 over 2 square. So now I get, after I adding to the both side this value, I get x squared minus 8x. This value is minus 8 over 2, again, minus 4 square is 16. So I add 16 equal, now here, minus 13 plus 16, they give me 3. Minus 13 plus 16, and the value is 3. So here I can get x squared minus 8x plus 16 equal 3. Now I should to factor this side. What is the factor for this side? What is the factor for x squared minus 8x plus 16? X minus 4, all parentheses square. This is correct. I'm looking for two numbers. The multiplication of these two numbers, they give me 16. And the sum for these two numbers is minus 8. So the two numbers are minus 4 times minus 4. So minus 4 times minus 4, they give me plus 16. And the sum of minus 4 plus minus 4, they give me minus 8, this term. So this is correct. Now factoring, factor x squared minus 8x plus 16 equal equal what? Yes, equal 3. So we have to factor this side, x squared minus 8x plus 16 equal 3. Yes, okay, this is equal 3. Now the factor, like Matthew said, is x minus 4 everything squared equal 3. Now, by using the property before, this property, what is the property here? This one. This is a simple quadratic equation. Look at this property. I'm going to call it star, like this. So by using a property star, or I'm going to call it property double star, like this. 1, 2, 3. 3 star. So you should to go back to this property. So here, by using property 3 star, because this is like a simple equation, by using property 3 stars, 1, 2, 3, and the slide number 6, or in page number 6, number 6. So this is like a simple quadratic equation. What is the answer for this one by using the property? What's the answer? This is a simple quadratic equation. Here, Jennifer. What is the answer for this one? Have you finished, Jennifer, from the slide? Okay. You're welcome. So what is the answer? How I can solve this one? So but go back to the example, solve x minus 4, everything square equal 5. I use the same step like this example. So by using the same step for this example, I can solve this equation here. I take the square root for both sides. So I can get x minus 4 equals square root of 3, or the x square x square, I mean x plus minus 4 equal the negative of the x radical of 3. Now I need the value for x only. What I should to do? I have to what to do here for both sides?
Add 4 to both sides.
Exactly, I have to add 4 for both sides. And the same thing here, add 4 for both sides. When I add 4 for both sides, this will be cancelled, and the same thing here will be cancelled. So x equal 4 plus the square root of 3, or x equal 4 minus the square root of 3. Is it clear? And this is the answer for this example. Any question for this example or the previous examples? So this is the last thing in this section, 1.4 quadratic equation. This is the last thing for this section. So I'm going to give like fast and easy review. This section talk about a quadratic equation. We have to know how to solve a quadratic equation. We have 3 ways for solving quadratic equation. The first one is by using the factoring, and I give some examples. Second way is by using the quadratic formula, and I give the quadratic formula and the discriminant. And the last way is by using the completing the square. And this is the last example for completing the square. I said I have to move all the numbers to other side, and I make it the other side by as a variable x. Then we have to completing the square by adding b over 2 square for both sides, and I did the same thing here. Then I use the property, this property, to solve or to completing solving for this example. Now, after we learn for the quadratic equation, we have to move to other types of equation. So we start talking about the basic equation, like linear equation. Last time we talked about linear equation. Today we talk about the quadratic equation. Now we're going over other types of equations. So here 1.6. Solve other types of equation. So this equation is not linear and is not also at the same time quadratic. So what does this equation look like? This equation will look like as fraction. So, but before in the beginning, I'm going to give like how to solve polynomial equation by factoring. So in the beginning of this section, start talking about example, solve the equation by factoring. Solve the equation by factoring. So the equation is a polynomial equation of the form x squared here. I mean x to the power 5. Here, x to the power 5 minus, or I mean like equal 9x cubed. So how we can solve something like this? First of all, it's not a linear equation. This is not a linear equation. Why? Because the variable here x raised to the power 5, 3 is not 1. And in the same time is not a quadratic equation. Why? because the same thing, the variable here, x and x, is not raised to the power 2. So this is other type of equation. Any idea how we can solving equation like this? Everything on one side, exactly. So we have to move everything in one side. So let's moving this side, this one to this side. To move this one here to other side, I have to subtract, right? Yes, Matthew, this is correct. I have to subtract 9x cubed minus 9x cubed. So after I subtract from both sides this value, this cancel out. I get 0. Now the equation is equivalent to this one is here x to the power 5 minus 9x to the power 3 equals 0. Now, what's the second step, Matthew? Yes, Layla, everything to the one side. Minus x something, factor out. Yes, exactly. So we have to factor out between this term and this term. The factor out is x to the power 3. This is correct. The factor for both sides, for both terms here, is x to the power 3. What is left here now? X squared, correct, minus, like Matthew said, also 9. Yes, correct, Layla. So x squared minus 9 equals 0. Can I factor the inside the parentheses x squared minus 9?
No.
Yes, this is correct. I can't factor it. So what is the factor for inside the parentheses? Aziza?
It's just x squared minus 9
X squared minus 9. What is the factor for x squared minus 9?
itself.
Itself?
Yeah.
No. Why? Because this is a difference of square. So Bilal said down x minus 3 times x plus 3. And other students said also Matthew x plus 3, x minus 3.
Oh,
And
yeah, I got
Layla, the same
confused.
things.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is correct. So x cube, and here the parentheses I can factor because it's a difference of square, x minus 3 times x plus 3. This is correct, equals 0. Now, which property I have to use to solve this equation? Do you remember the property said a times b equals 0? This implies a equals 0 or b equals 0. So this is the same things here. Here we have a, b, c equals 0. The same thing, a, b, c equals 0, a equals 0, b or b equals 0, or c equals 0. So the same thing. So who will solve it? What I should to say here? How can I solve it? So this is my a, for example. This is my a, and also this is my b, and also this is my c.
Would you say each of them to equal 0?
Exactly, each of them equals 0. So x cubed equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 3 equals 0. Matthew said the answer. So here I can get the answer by taking the third root for both sides. So x equals 0. Or here I have to add 3 for both sides. So x equals 3. Here I have to subtract 3 from both sides. So x equal minus 3. So this cancelling out, this cancel out. So x equal minus 3, x equal 3, and x equal 0. Okay? So here we have 3 answers, 3 solutions. This is the first solution, this is the second, and this is the third one. This is the first type of different equation. This is not linear, and also at the same time is not a quadratic, is not linear because the variable x raised to the power 1, and also is not a quadratic because the variable x is not raised to the power 2. So it's one of the it's one of the other types of equation. Other types of equation. Any question? It makes sense how we can solve polynomial equation like this. Okay, so we have another types of equation like a fractional expression. So here, example 2, other types of equation. Solve. I have fraction expression. So the question is 3 over x plus minus another fraction equal a fraction. If I have fraction, so I should know it's a different way of equations. It's not linear and is not also at the same time quadratic. So here we have 3 over x, and here we have 2 over x minus 3, and here we have minus 12 over x squared minus 9. This equation again is not linear equation and is not also at the same time a quadratic equation. Why? Because we have fraction. You see the fraction? Because we have fraction, this is other types of equation. Now, to solve this equation, I prefer to move everything to one side, and the other side again is 0. So the solution here, I have to set moving everyone to other side, so I have to add both sides by this fraction. Here we have negative 12 over x squared plus 9, so I have to add 12 over x squared plus minus 9. Okay, so now can I get 3 over x minus 2 over x minus 3, and here we have to add to the both side this value, add plus 12 over x squared minus 9 equal what? 0. So this is the first fraction, second fraction, and third one. So this is the first fraction, second fraction, the third one. I move everything to one side. Now I have to make the denominator are equal. So to make the denominator are equal, I'm going to combine this two first and the answer combined with this one, because it will be more easier by combining all the three in the same time. So I'm going to combine this fraction, then I combine the answer with this one. Now to combine this one, I have to multiply this side. I have to make the denominator are equal. So I have to multiply this side, multiplying by x minus 3. Here, x minus 3. And I have to multiply the other side, this one, by what? By x. So now I get another fraction equivalent to this one inside the parentheses. So I can get 3x minus 9 And here the denominator will be equal by multiplying x times x minus 3, and here multiplying x by this value, by this expression. So now I get here 3x minus, I distribute the 3 inside the parentheses. And also the same thing here, distribute the 2 inside the parentheses. I get 3x minus 9, and here we have minus, so minus, and 2 times x is 2x, over everything over the same value, x times x minus 3. Adding by, this one goes down. So now I can get 12 over x squared minus 9 equals 0. Now 3x minus 9 minus 2x here, this one here. Yeah, Laila, she said we can factor this one x squared minus 9 as x minus 3 x plus 3. This is correct. We're going to use it in the least common denominator after this step. Now we can simplify this thing here. This here, we can simplify it by what? 3x minus 2x is x positive, and the minus 9. So this is equal x minus 9. Again, 3x minus 2x is 1x, and the minus 9 goes up. So now we have two fractions. The denominator are different. Here we have x times x minus 3. Here we have x squared minus 9. So to do these things, we have to use the least common denominator like we learned before. So least common denominator. How can I use this one? What I have to say it here? How I can use the least common denominator? I have to factor. Did you remember when I factored the denominator for this one and I factored the denominator for this one? So factor of x minus 3 is, what is the factor for this one? What is the factor for x times x minus 3? The factor for this is not x times minus 3 times x plus 3. No, this is not correct. The factor
It's
for
already factored.
is already factored. So we have to write it down again like this, the same. So it's already factored. So we have to write it the same thing. X times x minus 3. We cannot factor it more. Now, what is the factor for the other factor of x squared minus 9? Yes, Bilal, this is correct. X minus 3 times x plus 3. Now, what I can cancel out between the two factors? What I can cancel here with this one? What is the common thing I can cancel? Exactly, x minus 3. This with this will be cancelled. Now I go to this fraction. I multiply this fraction by what? Here, by what I have to multiply this one? But by what I have to multiply this fraction? Not by x, no. We have to multiply this fraction by the factor of this one. Whatever remain of the factor of this one, I have to multiply this fraction. So the factor of x squared minus 9 after I cancel everything is x plus 3. So I have to multiply this by x plus 3. This is just a review from last time. And here the same thing. I have to multiply both sides by x plus 3. So this is my x plus 3. Now for the second fraction, why I have to multiply this thing here? By x, this is correct. I have to multiply by whatever left from the factor of this one. So the only things left here is x. So I have to multiply this by x. Multiply this by x. Again, for this fraction, I have to multiply whatever left from this, the factor of x squared minus 9. The only thing left from x squared minus 9 is x plus 3. I have to multiply both fraction, the numerator and the denominator, by x plus 3. But for the other fraction, I have to multiply both sides, but whatever left from the factor of x times x minus 3. The only left here is x, this x, because this will be cancelled out. So multiply this side by x and multiply this one by x. Now let's simplifying the answer. So let's multiplying x minus 3 by x minus 9. And the same things for this numerator, 12 times x. I'm going to move to the next slide. So here I can get fraction, one fraction only, equals 0. So in this fraction, I have x minus 9 times x plus 3. X minus 9 times x plus 3. And I have also the 12x. So plus 12x. In the denominator, x times x minus 3 times x plus 3 is the same as x squared minus 9 times x. So actually, x times this parentheses is the same as x times this parentheses times this parentheses. So here I can write, it will give me x squared minus 9 times x. Now let's simplify the numerator here. What I get here when I multiply this two parentheses. Yes, Bilal said this will be like x squared minus 6x minus 27. Are you sure, Bilal? Let me check. X times x is x squared, x plus 3 minus x, 9x minus 27. Yes, this is correct. So it will give me x squared. Yeah, I have to multiply this inside the parentheses, distribute inside the parentheses, and the same thing for the 9. So now I can get x squared plus 3x minus 9, they give me minus 6x, and minus 9 times 3, they give me minus 27, and plus 12x, this thing. Now here, the same thing, I can write it as x times x squared plus 9. Now, to solve something like that, I have to do cross multiply. So this would be 0. Now, to solve this, I should write by solving x squared minus 6 minus 27, minus 6 minus plus 12, they give me plus 6x minus 27 equals 0. Why? Because when I do cross multiply, this is over 1 actually. I cross multiply, this is 0, this 1 times this. So I can get x times x squared minus 9. We're not going to use it because when we multiply, cross multiply, this will be 0. But we're going to use the numerator only. So now x squared minus plus 6x minus 26. Give me two, we have to factor. What is the answer? What is the factor for this one? For this quadratic equation? I have to look for two numbers. The multiplication is minus 27 and the sum is 6. What is these two numbers? Plus 9 minus 3. This is correct. Now using the property, by using property, page, which page is that? Page 6, slide 6. That said AB equals 0. This implies A equals 0 or B equals 0. So now x plus 3 plus 9 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. Now I subtract 9 from both sides. I get x equal minus 9, or I add 3 for both sides. I get x equal 3. Now I have to check both of the answer if they are correct or not. I have to plug this one inside the fraction, and I have to plug this one inside the fraction to check they are answer for this equation or not. Okay, when I plug the minus 9 here, x equal minus 9 inside the, I mean like when I plug x equal 3 inside this one, can I plug this one here? 3 over 3 minus 2 over 3 minus 3, they give me 0, equal minus 12 over 3 squared minus 9, they give me another 0. So is the 3 a solution for this equation? Is x equal 3 is a solution after I plug inside here, inside the equation, inside the fraction equation? Is it a solution? No, after I plug it here, I get 3 over 3, they give me 1, minus 2 over 0, and here minus 12 over 0. Anything over 0, they will be undefined, right? So this is not a solution. But if I plug the x equal minus 9, they will give me a solution. So the only solution here, the only solution is x equal 3. X equal 3. X equals 9, minus 9, sorry. X equal minus 9. Why? Because this answer is undefined. This is not answer for this equation. Here is correct after you plug it. Makes sense? Any question for this example?
Can you go to the previous page, please?
Yes, sure.
So for the part that says where you circled it and it says x minus 9, where did you get that from?
Where? Which one? Here?
Yeah.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. For this one, I distribute the 3 inside the parentheses. I get 3x minus 9. When I distribute the 3 inside the parentheses, I multiply the 3 times x, I get 3x, and the 3 times the 3 is minus 9. And now here, I also distribute the 2 inside the parentheses. 2 times x is 2x. And the minus here goes down. So I get 3x minus 9 minus this minus 2 times x, 2x.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize. I didn't see the
Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
So it's clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Another question for this example? So this is very important example. how we can use the least common denominator. And also the same example, we can factor also. So this example is very important. I think you should to know how we can use the technique for solving equations like this. Do you have any question or any about this class for today? Why it is only one solution? Because when you plug the 3 inside this equation, so I get 2 solutions, right? After that, you have to check the solution. You have to plug this one inside this here. So when I plug the 3, I get 3 over 3, they give me 1. Minus 2 over 3 minus 3, they give me 0. 2 over 0 equal minus 12 over 0 again. So anything over 0 will be undefined. So I cannot plug the 3 inside the equation here. So that's mean the 3 is not a solution. But if I plug the minus 9, they will give me a solution. Why you cross multiply? Because you have to know, if you don't want to cross multiply, you have to know to find the solution, you have to use only the numerator. The denominator, you will not use it. If you don't want to use the cross multiply, you should to know we have to use only the numerator to solve this question. Make the numerator equal 0 and you have to factor and you have to get the answer. Bilal. Any other question? Other questions? Okay, if there is no other question, we're going to stop up to here for today. And next Wednesday, we have a class on Zoom. We're going to continue this section. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.